Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today. Doing the rare double article video today because this one from Twitchy that I have up first here is pretty quick. So we'll get to the two things that are related. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this article from Twitchy.com, dated September 12th. And it says former Representative Lee Zeldin says there's zero evidence of Biden wrongdoing except, and remember, I'm not cutting that cough out. Remember, Lee Zeldin was the one who ran up against Kathy Hochul for governor of New York in the last election and nearly pulled it off. So let's go ahead and see here. And again, this is going to dovetail into the townhall.com article dated September 13th, where it says that White House demands the media attack Republicans over Biden impeachment inquiry because apparently, as you've seen some videos out there, there's one from Representative Scott Perry of Pennsylvania where a British reporter was like, there's no evidence of it. And he basically was like, because he basically ended it with saying to her, like, it's because you're not reporting on anything. And of course, he ran off a list of things too. So let's go through what Lee Zeldin had to say. So it says, as you know by now, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has announced an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. Republicans are split. Some are eager for Biden to finally face the music, while others think an impeachment inquiry will just energize Biden's base, the same way they claim every indictment raises Donald Trump's poll numbers. It says, as we've noticed and noted, I can talk, in several posts, journalists writing about Biden always include the disclaimer that there's zero evidence that the president has done anything wrong. Yeah, and I've seen that a lot on Twitter. So they say there's no evidence, and then it was like there's no direct evidence, and it's just like, guys, you're scrambling here. Like there's evidence. Okay, you're basically putting your hands over your eyes and going, no, 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 I don't see anything. It's not there. No, no, no. Says they're willing to admit that his son Hunter traded on the family name to enrich himself, but Joe had no knowledge of any of it. He only called into business meetings to chat about the weather. Right. Says former Lee Zeldin has done us the favor of making a list of all those journalists out there still clinging to the zero evidence disclaimer. And he said there is zero evidence of wrongdoing. This is asterisk other than text, emails, WhatsApp messages, whistleblower testimony, Hunter's laptop, Biden video regarding Shokin, bank records, government docs, phone calls, business meetings, statements of former partners and clients, Hunter's own words. Yeah, it just kind of goes on and on and on. So aside from that, nothing. Says what we'd really like to see out of that list is the bank records for all of those shell corporations Biden set up while he was vice president. What do they do exactly? Yeah, and last I saw is that he had like 20 shell companies set up when he was vice president under was it like Robert Peters or something was the name. Like, if you're not doing anything wrong, why do you need even a shell company, much less 20 of them? Because there's a legit "what the hell are you doing" question to that. Says, and speaking of former partners, Republicans are nuts if they don't call Tony Bobulinski to testify. The guy spilled the dirt on Biden right before the election, but no one aside from Tucker Carlson would give him the time of day. And then here's all the reactions to Lee Zeldin, just with, basically everybody agreeing. Says, as people have said, Democrats are looking for a $5 million check from Burisma with bribe in the memo field. And even then, they won't consider it evidence. Then this person says wire transfers. And then, yeah, this person says, yeah. So says this interview agrees 100%. That's the author of the article. It says Bobulinski was in the room with Hunter and Joe and said that Joe is most definitely the big game. We're surprised Hillary hasn't paid him a visit. Yeah, no kidding. And then here's some more stuff that Biden did and says, we're still waiting on all of those 5,400 or so emails and documents copying Robert L. Peters. This Peters guy looks pretty shady, yeah, because he's our president, believe it or not. So this will go right into our next article, which, so we have all the evidence from the Twitchy article. So we have the townhall.com article from September 13th. It says, White House demands the media attack Republicans over Biden impeachment inquiry. So no, nothing fishy at all. The government is ordering the news to essentially run with its talking points. And pretty sure there's a word for that, but I'm gonna let everybody out there figure it out when the corporations and the news and the government are all working together. You tell me what you think that word is. We can come to it. Let's just say that the Europeans tried it, you know, 80, 90 years ago, and the guys who tried it got their asses handed to them. They're dead, and good for that. We'll leave it there. It says on Tuesday, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy officially announced the launch of an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden's shady Biden brand business partnership with his son, Hunter Biden. It says we have found that President Biden did lie about his own knowledge of his family's foreign business dealings, McCarthy said during a press conference. Bank records show that nearly $20 million in payments was directed to the Biden family's members and associates through various shell companies. Even a trusted FBI informant has alleged a bribe to the Biden family, he continued. The White House is on the defensive in lashing out in a lengthy memo published Wednesday. In it, Biden administration officials attacked the media and demand reporters turn away from inquiring about President Joe Biden to instead focus on Republicans. From the document, yes, because it's more important that They focus on, the not corrupt president than, anything else. Says it's time for the media to ramp up its scrutiny of House Republicans for opening an impeachment inquiry based on lies, which we know are not lies. Says when even House Republican members are admitting that there's simply no evidence that Joe Biden did anything wrong, and I'd like you to name who those people are because I haven't seen that. This is much less impeachable. That should set off alarm bells for news organizations who are just going to put whatever you tell them anyway. So don't be surprised if you start seeing news organizations coming out now and saying, oh, yeah, even Republican members are admitting that there's simply no evidence, and I know people are gonna be like, "Well, who the hell are you talking about?" Yeah, not cutting that out. Just for years, Republicans in Congress have tried to muddy the waters by attracting media coverage of their allegations, and as they chose to move forward with impeachment, it is the responsibility of the independent press to treat their claims with the appropriate scrutiny. Covering impeachment as a process story, Republicans say X, but the White House says Y, is a disservice to the American public who relies on the independent press to hold those in power accountable, which they haven't done in decades. So thank you for playing. You're not doing your job. Republican leaders should be held accountable for the fact that they are looking toward impeachment over allegations that are not only unfounded, and virtually all cases have actually been disproven. That's just a effing lie if I've ever seen one. Says including by witnesses and documents in their own investigations. That's false, as well as years old congressional probes and even the former president's first impeachment inquiry. Yeah, so I love how it's like we can impeach Trump based on nothing. Just like we think something might have happened, but then when there's actual proof that Joe Biden did stuff, they're like, no, 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 we can't do this. I think we opened the door for this entire thing happening, but we're gonna yell at you for actually just walking through it, you know? And so the quote finishes by saying, as you begin to uncover or begin to cover the GOP's impeachment push more intensely, enclosed you'll find a 14-page appendix that comprehensively addresses the 7 key lies House Republicans are suggesting they base an impeachment on. We hope this document helps provide you with factual information useful in your reporting on their unprecedented, unfounded claims underlying an impeachment inquiry without any evidence of wrongdoing. Now, what I'd like to do for all of you, I'm not actually going to do it, but what I want you to do is take the link, because it is in the description below, and reread this quote, but reread it from the opposite view, as if they were talking about Trump, and instead of saying House GOP, say the House Democrats impeachment. Okay, and tell me if you don't see like massive hypocrisy. I'm talking like on a like universal scale, like even God face palmed reading that. So article continues, it says the White House is in damage control mode with claims the impeachment inquiry is being launched without evidence. Sounds familiar. Says in fact, the narrative on what defines evidence is also rapidly changing as the case against Joe Biden continues to mount. And an evidence for, or I'm sorry, evidence, an embedded tweet from Miranda Devine, who you should definitely follow. I think she writes for the New York Post. Says notice how he self-corrects. Oh, this is Dan Goldman, who I've said before and I'll say again is a snake. Says notice how he self-corrects from no evidence to no direct evidence. He's a rookie Schiff and still hasn't lost the lawyer's compulsion for precision. Says there might not be a check signed by a Ukrainian oligarch with Joe's name on it, but Dan knows that's not the way these. Let's see what else it said here. All right, I might as well just reread the tweet since since I popped it up here. It says, notice how he self-corrects from no evidence to no direct evidence. He's a rookie Schiff and still hasn't lost the lawyer's compulsion for precision. There might not be a check signed by a Ukrainian oligarch with Joe's name on it, but Dan knows that's not the way these rackets work. He knows there is loads of evidence, the sort he used in his former life as a prosecutor to charge people. Correct. Because Dan Goldman is a snake, and that's the end of that. So, what do you guys think? Do you think there is evidence to for the impeachment inquiry? What do you think about the hypocrisy the Democrats are showing by saying, "Oh no, there's nothing here," even though there's nothing here except for all of this stuff. Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.